I've been putting this off and putting this off and putting this off so I can put it off no longer. 1978, Doodah Dave coming back. Welcome back. Please like and subscribe and comment if you have anything to say about the channel. Good or bad, we'll take whatever you got going. All right, so let's jump into it. So what we've got here is a live album from 1978. Many people know this album. Get it out of the shrink. I didn't take everything out of it. Waiting for Columbus with some nice ringwear there. Yes, it's my original. On the Warner Brothers Burbank labels there. Bought this when it came out, or shortly thereafter. I think pretty much when it came out in 78. It was the 77 tours of both a listener auditorium in Washington, D.C., and which I think is at American University, and also the Rainbow Theatre in London. This is a fantastic album. I'll show you some pictures of Lowell and the guys, Paul Barrere, Billy Payne, Ken Gradney. I love this. I did a review of this album before. No admission to anyone wearing biker gear. Ken Gradney, Sam Clayton, Richie Hayward on drums, Paul Barrere on the second guitar with Lowell George on lead guitar and vocals. And who did I miss? I think that's Billy Payne. Yeah, that's all six of them. And then they had the Tower of Power horns on this. Join the band. I mean, Fat Man. There's really not a bad song on this. This is beyond banger, beyond no skips. This is probably up there with definitely in my top 5 live albums of all time. I mean, Who live at Leeds, live at the Fillmore East, Europe 72, and Skull and Roses and its other name, which I won't say lest I get flagged on YouTube. You probably know it. And what other? What's the Live Stones album from '69? Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. Yes, that's a pretty great one. Beatles don't really have a band or live album. Concert for Bangladesh is one of my faves. Not the greatest, either recording or playing, but because it was such an emotional night for George. But we're talking about Waiting for Columbus, so that's Waiting for Columbus. What else do I want to say about that? Not much. I mean, it plays Feet Don't Fail Me Now. Willin' is great acoustic Willin'. Don't bogart that joint. It plays like a greatest hits. It does. I love side 2 and 3, The Time Loves a Hero, Into Day or Night, Mercenary Territory, and Spanish Moon That Flows. They left a couple things off of here. If you get the CD or the extended version, I guess they did an extended version. I mean, they've done extended versions of everything. All right, let's move on. 1978 on the Asylum. Also Warner Brothers, the Warner Asylum label. There's the little Asylum. This is Warren Zevon's second album. Actually, I found out technically it's his third album, but everybody knows the first album went nowhere. I don't know if I've ever seen a copy. I have the second album. This is the third, 1978, with Werewolves of London. He's got the Fleetwood Mac rhythm section of John McVie and Mick Fleetwood, thank you, backing him up on Werewolves. He's got Waddy Wachtel on almost playing guitar on almost every cut. Danny Cooch, a lot of those session guys, Rick Murata, Jeff Porcaro from Toto, Leland Sklar and Russell Kunkel, who played with Danny Cooch in the section. Keys, he's got Bob Glaub on bass, who's on the... he plays keys on most of it. Warren himself. And he's got, I think, is this the one or the first album? I guess it's produced by Jackson Browne. I'll show you the back. Let me show you the labels. This is great inside. And yeah, Warren is an excitable boy. Warren's father, I also did what do they call it? A deep dive review of this album that's on the Warner Electra Asylum labels. Warren's father, he grew up in LA, was a bookie. So a lot of his edgier songs, Carmelita, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner, were, he knew those last two are on this album. Carmelita's on that second album. He knew from which he spoke. Excitable Boy, of course, is about a guy that gets meets a bad end, and his songwriting is peerless. His performance, this is just a very, very, very fine album all around. I think everybody likes Excitable Boy. Okay, moving right along, we'll go to The Singing Cops. This was 1978's follow-up, Outlandish D'Amour, to the this was the this wasn't a 78. Oops, I got the wrong album. Well, I'll do it anyway. It's a 79. It's a preview of 79. Kind of ruined. You know what? I'm a stickler for these things. I'm going to do another 1978, so I'll put Regatta de Blanc was, I think, the 78 Police album, I think. All right, let's move right along. Devo, this is actually Dylan, my son's record. Devo, Are We Not Men? This is a fantastic, fantastic debut by Devo. I think they did some earlier albums in this, but this was the one that really broke them open with Uncontrollable Urge, Mongoloid, Jocko Homo, which is Are We Not Men, Are We Devo? Here's the guys, Bob Mothersbaugh, who went on to do a lot of soundtracks. They are out of Ohio. And that was a movie, some kind of movie, stills from some kind of movie they did at this time. They appeared on Saturday Night Live. They just broke open. I remember at my college radio station in around 1978, they had this poster on the wall. And I'm like, what is that? Devo, Are We Not Men? Are We Devo? It was the time, beginning of New Wave, and punk was kind of like, taking hold. Just a great, great album, great talents. I got the chance to see them. Dylan and his friend Louis and me all went down to the city at the that small, I think it's called the Sony Music Hall now, and got to see them on the hardcore tour. Speaking of New Wave, here's kind of the New York kings of New Wave. This is, I'm getting things on my note because it's the anniversary of Duane Allman's passing today, so we should do a piece on Duane Allman. But this is the second album by the Talking Heads after 77. This is 78. And sorry about that with the, I pulled the wrong Police record. More songs about building and food. This is one of my favorite. It's probably my second favorite. I love Fear of Music because that was the one I bought new. But I do love More Songs About Buildings and Food. Brian Eno produced this. It's just great. You've got this great cover, front and back. They got the great cover. This writing on this, David Byrne, Jerry Harrison, Tina Weymouth, and Chris Franz are incredible all the way through. But the cover of Al Green, Take Me to the River, which I think is the second to last after Big Country. I love Big Country. Kind of reminds me of Nothing But Flowers. On the Sire record label. CBGB's David Byrne. He just has a new album. He just did a tour of Radio City Music Hall. I think he played 5 sold-out nights or something there. Fantastic album. They just did a remaster of it. This is an OG I got, but it sounds really, really great. Speaking of OGs, this guy is an OG, and this is an Elvis album that I've really, really wanted to get. Again, I'll shout out to Dylan Daly Rocks because he loves Pump It Up on this album. This is this year's Model, which came after My Aim Is True. There's Elvis at the, I guess that's a Hasselblad because it sure ain't a Nikon. I wonder where I got the Hasselblad. I guess he flipped the script on the photographer, and there's the band. This was not the Attractions yet. The Attractions came out on the next album in 79, Armed Forces, which I love as well. But this is just radio, Pump It Up. This was on Columbia. Yeah, he got on Columbia. It's interesting. The bands that Columbia tend to sign, a lot of them just became mega stars. They just had some hit factory, from everybody from Chicago to Bob Dylan to Johnny Cash to, I mean, so many of them. Miles Davis. Big people. What else is on here? This year's Pump It Up I mentioned. Little Triggers, wonderful ballad. He wrote everything on here. No covers with Elvis on this one. Lip Service, Radio I mentioned. I mean, it's great. Great. Working Class, English, 1978. Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, this cover, this is Van Morrison's Wavelength. This was the same year, we're talking about 1978. This was also on Warner Brothers. I mean, I gave Columbia a big shot. I certainly should give Warner Brothers because they signed Grateful Dead, Frank Zappa, Van Morrison, Doobie Brothers, so many of the people I love. Yeah, a lot of people on Warner Brothers, or their subsidiaries. Reprise, which was part of Warner Brothers, got bought, which was Neil Young, etc. This is the inner sleeve for Wavelength. Now, Wavelength was, how do you describe Wavelength? How do you describe a Van Morrison album at all? There was a lot of horns on here, but it had like a beat to it. It was a beat with horns. So not the same kind of horns that we talked about on the Little Feat live album, Waiting for Columbus, with the Tower of Power horns, which is like a West Coast kind of R&B thing. This is more a jazz, the skiffle, all that English stuff going on. I love Kingdom Hall on here. I love Wavelength. Those are two of my favorite songs on here. Natalia is a nice. Bobby Tench plays electric guitar. If you know Bobby Tench, did vocals actually with Jeff Beck group after Rod Stewart left. Who else is on here? Garth Hudson on Kingdom Hall. Van had worked with Richard Manuel on the Cahoots album, their fourth album. They did a duet. Bobby Tench, Garth, yeah, he's pretty much in the band. I saw this tour, and there's Van smoking a cigarette on front of Wavelength. I saw this tour in Chicago at the Beginnings Club, which is owned and started by the guys in Chicago. And it was great. He had so many people, like 13, 14 people, I think, maybe 16 on the stage with all the horns and stuff. Here's a little debut album out of Boston that just had a few hits on it. I think the whole album was hits. The Cars debut, which was released by Rhino Hi-Fi a couple years ago and quickly sold out their first run. Fantastic. This is an OG. There's Rick Ocasek and Elliot Easton and all the guys. Just really good times roll. This is a no skips, almost perfect album, just what I needed. Moving in Stereo, Bye Bye Love, You're All I've Got Tonight, Don't You Stop, etc. Pretty much. This is on Elektra, which was part of that Warner Elektra Asylum. Diaspora, and there's the label. The Elektra was the label the Doors were on. Cars were phenomenal. Their build is new wave. Yes, they're new wave, but they're more than that. They're how would I describe the Cars? It was almost like, bear with me on this, but it was almost like a New England rockabilly. All right, almost like an NRBQ. I mean, they had so much verve, so much pizzazz, so much pop, crackle, and And at first, I got to tell you, at the time when they came out, we're like, the Cars. They had so much radio play. It was like ridiculous. I mean, they were knocking, Genesis and Fleetwood Mac and stuff off the radio. And they weren't, at the time when they came out in 78, they weren't quite as edgy as like a Devo that we talked about. But man, has their songwriting and stuff. And as they developed Shake It Up and Panorama, Heartbeat City, what's it, Candio. Candio's great album, great song. Wonderful songwriting, wonderful musicians, fantastic. Talk about wonderful singers. Talk about Linda Ronstadt. She was still riding high in 78. It was before she got to her Nelson Riddle, I'm going to do the classics phase. This was when she really dug deep into the rock and roll songbook and did Chuck Berry. She's got a Little Feat on here, Little Feat song. She's got a Warren Zevon song. It's very close with them. It's got an Elvis Costello song. So you see overlap. She knew what was going on. I mean, she's on the cover with the skates and the short hair and stuff. She was trying maybe to do a little, new wave, a nod to new wave on this too. It was certainly the biggest thing in 78 in the music business. All That You Dream is fantastic. Ooh, Baby, Baby, the Motown thing, Smokey Robinson. She's got Blown Away on here, Love Me Tender, Elvis. So she starts with Barry. He's got a Hammerstein song on here. J.D. Souther that she was dating around this time, and there she is with lacing up the skates on also Asylum, which was Geffen was real tight with these guys after Laura Nyro passed, and he got Joni Mitchell in the stable and Crosby, Stills and Nash, and he got Warren Zevon, and he got Linda Ronstadt. He was off and running, and Irving Azob also. Okay, last but not least, because this is running a little bit longer than I'd hoped, I did count a greatest hits, mainly because my friend Tim at University of Vinyl in the VC speaks so highly of this album, so I did go out and get it. I am a bit of a Steely Dan freak, an aficionado, a Dan freak, and this sounds great. It's on the ABC, I guess you'd call those kind of bullseye, rainbow bullseye, with the notes on them. And it's got an interesting collection of hits. It's got a couple of hits from all of the albums through before Gaucho. So this was 72 to 78, including Peg and Josie. So two of the kind of more upbeat, singly type of things from, I think Black Cow also got some single. In fact, most everything on AOR, adult oriented and progressive rock stations, they played everything, including Asia and Home at Last and everything. Showbiz Kids. It's got East St. Louis Toodaloo, which is kind of like a nice deep cut. The Duke Ellington cover, which I believe in this period was the only cover that they did. They had some co-writers, Becker and Fagan. Just show you the artwork, cool artwork. Kind of reminiscent of Hotel California in a weird way. Just, I don't know why it reminds me of Hotel California. Maybe because I know they're both, Fry and Henley and Becker and Fagan and Ronstadt, Jackson, and Warren Zevon. That pretty much sums up California rock in the 70s. I mean, throw in the Doobie Brothers, Mike McDonald, bunch, and all the session people. Nice, and I like that. The guy, is it the one of the guy playing? Yeah, the guy's playing piano in the background. This was clearly, I would say, probably, if it wasn't taken in New York, it was kind of a nod to New York. It looks like something like at the Plaza or some like New York hotel. And just, a plethora of sidemen. I don't know if you can see them all here from all the albums. Just seeing all the sidemen listed is phenomenal. I think they did it alphabetically. Yeah, they did. Starting with Patty Austin and ending with Snooky Young. Oh, Snooky Young was on the band We were talking about Garth Hudson and the band live album. I'll just give you Jeff Skunk Baxter, Hal Blaine from the Wrecking Crew, Larry Carlton, of course, the magnificent guitarist. It's all over the Asia album. Pete Chrisley was a reed player. The Rick Derringer, who we lost recently, I believe, end of last year. Danny Diaz, of course. Wilton Felder from the Crusaders. On and on. Steve Gadd. Too many to name. Don Grolnick, Slide Hyde, Plas Johnson, Jim Keltner, John Clemmer, Reed Guy, Rick Marotta, drummer, so many great drummers. Mike McDonald, I'd mentioned, who was, hooking up with the Doobie Brothers, which we'll see in the next 1978 film. So that's Dr. Wu is on here. It is a really nice greatest hits of Steely Dan, this one. And I believe they're first on vinyl, I think. I think the other ones that came out had like FM and Here at the Western World, and they were released on CD, probably CD and vinyl at that time, but this was vinyl. And it was cut by, of course, Gary Katz produced it. It was cut by Bob Ludwig. So this was a Bob Ludwig cut, mastered by Bob Ludwig at Masterdisc. Steely Dan's greatest hits. Do It Again, Pretzel Logic. Oh, Here at the Western World is on this. I have forgot that. Yes. So you get a deep cut. You get something that wasn't, one cut that wasn't previous released. Okay, that does it for 1978. Dave signing out. My kids are here this week from the West Coast, and my beautiful grandson, Phoenix, my lovely daughter, Sherry, and Sean, my son-in-law, which is fantastic to see them. So we'll see you soon for 1978 Part 2. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.